City Council member Amanda Edwards. Welcome to the Edwards Empowerment Talks. I'm excited to have you join us. The Edwards Empowerment Talks is designed to inspire you with stories of perseverance. We want you to know that where you are today is not where you must remain. We believe that when people are empowered, change happens, and that change can be monumental. My guest today is a perfect example of the widespread effect that empowered life can have on others. Kathy Griffin is known as a champion of women. She has used her story of drug addiction and prostitution to help change the lives of thousands of women. Kathy is the Human Trafficking Director with the Harris County Precinct 1 office and the founder of We've Been There, Done That, and Our Roadway to Freedom. Join me in welcoming our guest, Miss Kathy Griffin. Kathy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I love to think about how we can empower people, and what better way to do that through telling the story of people who have inspiring stories and stories of perseverance. And you have just that. You've used your life to transform the lives of others. So I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for using your life as an opportunity to inspire others.
Well, I'm honored to be able to do it. Turning your life from the darkness into the light, you know, people say it all the time. You got to learn to forgive. You've got to work. You've got to go to rehabilitative programs. You've got to go to church. You've got to. Mm-hmm. Every individual is different because nobody knows the depth of each individual's trauma and their pain. We know everybody has experienced pain, but I could never tell you exactly what your pain is that you felt, because only you felt that.
That's right.
And the same goes for anybody who experiences anything.
Your story has been so impactful on so many people, and I want to share that. So can you tell us a little bit about, just a little bit about your background, how you got into the space and place where you were getting into prison, to jails and engaging in addiction? Tell us a little bit about how that started, because you didn't start off that way.
No. You know, starting from things that happened as a child, not being able to discuss them, sexual molestation by babysitters, brothers, and being trapped in fear that my family wasn't going to want me, or I was going to be in trouble, or listening to the lies that the perpetrators had instilled in me, and holding on to those secrets. And through the years, I mean, I've thought about all of this stuff, and some other stuff came up that just a few days ago, my brother and I were talking, and he was like, what would make Mama allow you to go on that date at 14 with that adult male? And I'd never thought about that, because I'm used to the times after that I snuck out to go and meet this adult male that was my boyfriend. But my mother loved me so much, and I was the kind, if you told me I couldn't do it, I would have had a fit. But she should have let me have that fit. I don't fault her, because she was guilty of loving me to death and didn't know how to love me to life. And I didn't know how to even like me or love me, to the point of growing up in Mississippi with segregation and then integration and being of mixed breed and the bullying that took place. And I wanted to hurry up and be away from all of that and be free and grown. And sex, a lot of youth think that being sexually active means I'm an adult now. It has nothing to do with the bulk of being an adult and the responsibility and being able to support yourself.
Your story didn't stop there. You went off to college.
16 years old, came to Houston, Texas Southern.
And
2 years at Texas Southern, a year and a half at University of Houston.
Yeah.
And then off into the music industry.
So that's where you got introduced to drugs and
yes.
Living in the fast lane.
Yes, because everybody was doing it.
Did you realize that you were living in this fast lane? Did you realize you had an addiction?
I didn't care.
Okay.
I was grown. I was living free. I didn't have my mama telling me this and that. Oh, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
You could tell me anything.
So
I
it was
out
almost
there.
like a state of not being conscious
Right.
of what you were even doing.
It's about, oh, I'm having a good time. I'm doing this. I'm around this person. I'm around that person. Look at me. Look at me. Look at
Because
me.
you were around the celebrity
Celebrities.
types, right? You were
Yes.
singing back up. You were doing a lot of
All
different-
kind of stuff. Even being groupies. You know, it's interesting. A lot of young women that even do the videos and all that, and they love to be able to say, well, I was with this and then the other. But if you look back at a lot of it, we were all really groupies.
Right. And
We
you
were.
think you're on the inside.
Yeah, but you really, no, you get caught up in that life, and the life strips you of your dignity and your purpose and your structure, and everything that you were taught goes straight out the window.
Okay.
You don't think about it.
And so tell me, what was your low?
The lowest low that I had was in Houston, homeless, having to.
Friends had abandoned you at that point.
We all so low that we had to look up just to see the bottom of our feet. And unfortunately, but ironically, when you're living that low, like you see all the homeless people and the mentally ill people and how they sleep on the street and all of that, and kind of live off the land type, you become immune, and it's like, it's normal.
Yeah.
You don't even, you're in a state of mind that you don't even realize you're living that low.
Right. Now, Kathy, I'm going to ask you to hold that thought. This is all extremely interesting, but we're going to take a break for just a second. And thank you for watching us. We'll be right back with Miss Kathy Griffin. And we're back with Kathy Griffin. Kathy, tell me, you said something very interesting before the break. You said something about how you don't even know you're on the streets when you're on the streets. You don't even think about it in that way. So when you're seeing housing and nearby and you're living on a street, you didn't say, I belong in a house. You remember living in a house, right?
You don't think about it. You become immune to it because you've fallen into the poor old me syndrome. And nobody's going to accept me back. I've lived out here on the land like this. Who's going to want me? So you adjust to your environment. And because we all that are out there homeless and just infected with all of the different drugs and our issues, so we just have to build our own world. It's our own world. And in our world, we have rules in our world.
Yeah.
But they're not rules that are legal.
Yeah.
But in every aspect of the homelessness, the substance abuse, the prostitution, even in our everyday life on this side of the track, there are rules.
Yeah.
And you become, I mean, it's just as normal for us to have the no snitch policy. Honor among thieves, which I don't even have that code anymore. That's gone because this is a whole new era from when I was being homeless. I mean, if we had a 25-cent soda and a 10-cent bag of chips, we shared that amongst the three of us if it were three of us. It didn't matter.
Yeah. So would you say that's the case, like when you think about something you said that was really powerful to me was that sometimes you get caught up in your own world and you've limited your world or your experience to what you're capable of doing. So you get trapped in your mind in some regards, and sometimes that manifests in your environment. So in your mind you thought this is all that was going to be your world, so you didn't start to strive to live in a home or get
No.
yourself turned around. So do tell us, because I think this is what everybody wants to know. What was the turning point for you when you said, this is it, this is the last time I go to jail, this is the last drug I take, the last situation with prostitution? Tell us, what was that moment for you?
For them to tell me I was going to do 35 years.
Okay, okay.
I didn't
That's
kill
eye-opening.
anybody. I didn't rob anybody.
Yeah.
I didn't steal your car. I didn't snatch your purse. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Because back then it was a 3-strike you out, 25 to life on the 6th prostitution, which was that 3 strikes you out, 3rd felony. Then I had the crack pipe in my bra, and that warranted 10. So you combine it, and everything happens in God's time and not before. So
Had you tried to stop before?
Oh, 22 rehabs.
22 rehabs.
Are you kidding?
You say that one more time?
22 drug rehabs.
My goodness.
I got a doctorate degree in rehabology.
Okay. And so then this last time, the fear of
Being locked
long-term,
up day for day.
yeah,
In prison for getting in the car with an undercover and having an empty crack pipe. I've seen people who have killed people that don't do that much time.
right.
And I knew that Harris County wasn't playing with me. They would lock me up and throw away the key. And I still know to this day that file is still sitting in the DA's office doing push-ups, just waiting, hoping that I will slip, but it ain't gonna happen.
So have you ever, so from that time, you said, I'm going to turn my life around. But you didn't just say that. You turned your life and thousands of women, their lives around too. And so tell me how you moved from, I just don't want to go to jail for that long of a period of time, to not only I don't want to go to jail, but I don't want these other women to repeat my mistakes and to have that recurring issue going on and on and on for years.
You know, when we're out there, we talk.
Okay.
We talk about our experiences. And it's always, well, let me tell you what I used to have. I mean, you think, but they're just stories like old men sitting around a fire playing dominoes. We're just talking about the good old days. And it's like we're all just little senior citizens sitting there. We know that we at the end of the road, and we're just reminiscing over that, but that could never come back. But because I understood their trauma, I understood that I had trauma, and we just called it hurt and pain then. We didn't have that word available to us back then, trauma.
Yeah.
And knowing anything about trauma-informed care. It was just hurt, and it was just pain, and everybody, you know, just to know how much sexual abuse occurred even in the guys' lives. That, you know, dope is really a truth serum for a lot of people, just like alcohol can be a truth serum. So just to sit around and God allowed me to take all of that, and he fixed up his own recipe and implanted it in my DNA for me to be able to know I can't just do this. I got to go back and get somebody else.
So basically knowing that it was part of your unique purpose, Kathy Griffin's purpose, not just to turn her own life around, but to turn around the lives of so many others. And you knew that was part of your purpose. You felt it inside. Let me ask you this question. Has it always been easy? Tell us about some of the bumps along the way.
Nothing's easy, even on living on the right side of the track.
Yes.
The bottom will fall out at any given time. But it's interesting because, you know, they say forgive yourself. How can you forgive when you've never been taught the different steps to forgiveness?
So forgiveness is part of your recovery.
And it is a practice. You have to practice it daily to forgive, and so that you won't constantly slip back into that, oh me, I'm a victim, pour me another drink, pour me some more dope.
So what do you think instead? So you used to think, your mindset used to be that of victimhood. So what is now replacing those thoughts?
I know for myself, and I can only speak for myself, if I were to slip, there's so many different lives that look up to me.
Yes, they do.
And if I were to fail, I would be harming so many people's lives. And I feel that God will hold me responsible for that, because he gave me this opportunity to plant seeds. I can't save anybody, but I can plant the seed, and then we nurture it for each individual so that they can tailor-make their own wellness plan to finding their road and their purpose. And for me, if I were to be a hypocrite, first of all, I wouldn't be able to live inside myself.
Well, Kathy, let me hold this thought for just a second so that we can take a break. And again, we'll be right back with Kathy Griffin. And we're back with Kathy Griffin and her riveting tale of how she used her own life to transform the lives of thousands of women. Kathy, this has been fascinating. One of the things that you left off talking about in terms of your experience is that the road is not always easy, and sometimes you have to be accountable, not only just because of your internal strength, but because of the people that are watching you. And so I want to kind of start off with that. You've run a lot of programs, you've founded a number of initiatives and programs to help uplift women and those who have been abused, who have been engaged in the sex trafficking business. Can you tell us some of the nuggets of things that over time you have really appreciated and some of those challenges? Just share a couple.
One thing that I really appreciated was getting the ladies registered and marching them from the courthouse to the poll. And to see how empowered they were.
Empowerment is part of that, right? So it's saying that your voice matters. And I think sometimes people feel like their voice just doesn't matter. Who's going to listen to me? Why does my voice count? And I think instilling that no matter where we are in life, your voice does matter and it can make a difference. And I think that's a really, really empowering piece of this. Tell me a little bit about some of the challenges.
Everybody is on steroids wanting to, we want this go fast, quick fix.
Yeah, tell me that story. You shared a story with me once about how quickly people want that, recovery to happen.
Like when you're in jail, you're sitting there and you're doing that countdown for your release.
Yeah.
I got 23 days and a wake up, and then a lot of them that do that absolutely have nowhere to go when they get out.
Yes.
And then the programs come in and say, we're going to teach you, we're going to get you a job, we're going to do this. First of all, anybody, if you get out and you don't have anywhere to lay your head that night, you can have a job all day long, and then working and the money isn't enough to even pay for rent, you will not be able to focus. So you'll say, well, you know what? I did what they said. Why should I go to school? If I go to school, they focus on testing. I don't understand what they're saying. And then say I graduate. Then I got to get a loan to go to college. Then if I get the job, I owe more money than I'm making on the job. So why should I even do this? And the barriers are breaking that kind of thinking and mentality, because people can be taught to find their purpose and find their own entrepreneurship and their own career. We push jobs. We push anything but the creativity and finding the wholeness inside of oneself.
Right.
And then getting to the core of their purpose. Everybody wants their children back when they get out. But if your child gets sick, how are you going to pay for the Tylenol at Walgreens? How are you going to be able to buy the school equipment?
So what you're saying is you've got to have patience. You've got to be able to understand how you eat an elephant. It's one bite at a time, right? So you have to appreciate that. But then in addition to that, there are lots of complicated moving pieces. And a lot of times I think we oversimplify when we have had difficulties, how long it took us to get into that. And you think, poof, overnight, it's going to be resolved.
Rehabilitation costs less than incarceration.
Okay.
And when you get out, you got court fees, probation fees. You've served your time for your crime. Then they stick these long tails on you, and you don't have anywhere to live. You don't have a job. You don't even have bus fare. And then you owe Crime Stoppers, which God bless Crime Stoppers. You owe court fees. You owe restitution. You owe probation. It's like I just did my time.
Right.
Just like when you get a speeding ticket and they go sit them out, then that ticket goes away. How can you expect, especially mentally ill and challenged people who haven't even been taught, because their medications have been administered to them while they're incarcerated, and they get out, and you expect them to
be self-sufficient.
And be able to take. You gotta have somewhere to live. And then you have to have somebody to take you step through step. I'll give you a prime example. When I bought my house, Now, mind you, people just take this stuff for granted. I went and bought all my furniture, and I called Mary Covington, who was head of the drug court, and I was all excited. They're going to move my furniture in today. They're moving my furniture today. So I got home and I looked, and they had everything set up except there was no mattress. I called Mary and I said, they didn't bring my mattress. She said, well, did you buy one? I'm like, buy one? It was one on the bed when I picked it. I didn't realize you buy mattresses separate. And then the lights got cut off. She said, well, did you transfer them into your name? I didn't know that. I knew the lights were on. People take for granted that you lose when you're out there in the elements.
Right. And let me ask you this, because I think one of the things that's important is, for number one, the fact that you're teaching people how to reacclimate or to acclimate into the broader society. That's so important, is that you don't just give it to somebody, you're teaching them how to be self-sufficient. So you have themes of empowerment, themes of patience, but also, can you share with us, just anybody who's watching, whether they have had a history of these types of issues or not, and there's some other pivot point in their life, what pieces of advice would you share?
It's not just for prostitutes or drug addicts.
Right.
Or sexually abused people. It's for people.
Right.
And a lot of other people that have not gotten caught, let's say that, have not gotten caught, tend to forget about the stuff that they've covered up. I do a whole series on being a dressed up garbage can. You can look
dressed up garbage can.
Garbage can.
Okay.
You can look all nice and you got your nice stuff on and you design a purse and shoes and you everything. But inside, you jacked up. You messed up. You know, and you come off, I'm not as worse off as you. Grandiose, egotistical. And understanding, those are all masked too. So it wouldn't hurt anybody to take a look inside of the secrets that they don't want God to know, but He already knows.
Kathy, thank you so much again for sharing your interesting story of how you've used your life to transform the lives of thousands of women. Again, you've talked about themes of empowerment, themes of patience, also how to go and get help the help that you might need. And again, I want to thank you for using your life in this way and for empowering others. Thank you again for watching the Edwards Empowerment Talks. I hope that you're inspired and empowered to take hold of your life and live the life you were destined to live, so that you can be the solution in your own life as well as in the lives of your family and your friends and your community. Special thank you to Miss Kathy Griffin for joining us today, and for you for watching.